Hey everyone, welcome to the Bold and the Beautiful. I'm Oma, and I'm so excited to have you here. If you love Bold and Beautiful update, then you're in the right place. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a video. Alright, let's dive right in. You ever think your life is on track, until one night changes everything? That's exactly what happened to me. I thought I was in love. I thought I was building a future with someone who cared about me. But instead, I walked straight into a storm I wasn't ready for. Imagine standing in a room with the woman who hates you most in the world, while she looks you in the eye and says you will never be her son's wife. Now imagine the man you love confessing that the night before he finally gave his heart to someone else, he'd been tricked into giving it to me. That's where my story begins, with betrayal, heartbreak, and a fight for love that turned into something much darker than I ever expected. Katie shuts down Luna's wedding plans. My side of the story. I don't even know where to begin, because when I look back on everything that happened, it feels like my whole life spun out of control in just a few days. What started as excitement, hope, and a little bit of love somehow twisted into heartbreak, betrayal, and more tears than I ever thought I had inside of me. This isn't just about a wedding being shut down. It's about trust being broken, about families turning against each other, and about me, standing in the middle of it all, unsure if I even had the strength to keep going. I remember that night at the Spencer mansion as if it happened yesterday. The room was quiet when I walked in, though there was a tension in the air, the kind of heavy silence that feels like you're walking into the middle of a storm. Katie was sitting with Bill, and they were deep in conversation. I should have walked away. I should have respected their privacy. But I didn't. I walked right in because I couldn't keep my feelings bottled up anymore. I remember blurting out how ridiculous it was that everyone wanted to pretend Electra Forrester was the perfect match for Will. I said it with venom in my voice, bitterness dripping from every word, calling her Little Miss Yawnfest, like a teenager trying to win a fight with insults. At the time, I thought I was being clever. I thought I was showing them that I had fire, that I wasn't going to roll over and let someone else live the life I wanted. But Katie looked at me like I had just spit in her face. She sat up straighter, her eyes narrowing, her lips tightening into that kind of line only mothers can make when they're about to shut you down completely. Her voice was steady, but it cut through me sharper than any scream could. Will loves Electra, she said. Not you. I should have left right then. I should have spared myself the humiliation. But my heart, my stupid, stubborn heart, wouldn't let me. I kept talking, throwing every reason I could think of for why Will and I belonged together. I told them Bill was a monster for pushing me toward an abortion, for trying to erase a future I thought I deserved. I painted this picture of myself as the perfect wife, the perfect mother, the woman who would make Will's life exciting and full of love. Katie exploded. She told me, no, she promised me, that I would never be Will Spencer's wife. Her voice shook with so much rage that for a second, I almost believed her words could physically stop me from breathing. But I still didn't leave. Instead, I looked her dead in the eyes and told her it didn't matter. That Will would come around. That he and I would bond, and nothing she said could stop it. That night should have been the end of it. But it wasn't. Because across town, Will was pouring his heart out to Electra. I didn't know it at the time, but while I was fighting for my future, he was destroying hers. He told her about the night of the party, about how he'd been drinking too much, how Deacon Sharp had helped him upstairs. He told her about the mask, about how someone had come into his room pretending to be her. He told her he thought it was Electra, until he realized it wasn't. Electra's voice broke when she asked him who it was. She wanted to believe it was some prank, something silly, anything but the truth that was clawing its way to the surface. But Will couldn't lie. He admitted it. He admitted that he had been with someone else. And the cruelest part? It was me. When I think about that night now, I can still feel the heat of Electra's anger. I wasn't in the room, but I can imagine it so vividly. The way her eyes must have widened in disbelief. The way her heart must have cracked into pieces when she realized that the man she loved had been with another woman the night before they finally made love. I know because I felt that pain myself. I've been on the other side of betrayal. And yet, somehow, I was the one who caused hers. Back at the mansion, Katie and Bill confronted me again. Their words were like daggers. Katie sneered that Will despised me. Bill told me to walk away, to do myself a favor and stop clinging to a fantasy that would never be real. I should have broken then. I should have collapsed under the weight of their disgust. But I didn't. Instead, I laughed. It wasn't real laughter, not the kind that comes from joy. It was hollow, sharp, and bitter, the kind of laugh you let out when the world tells you no, but your pride refuses to hear it. I told them I wasn't going anywhere. That Will and I would bond. That we would raise a family. That one day, they'd have to accept me. Katie's face turned red. She shouted that I would never be Will's wife. She spat the word never with such force that it felt like she was trying to rewrite the future itself. And maybe she did. That's where everything started unraveling. Because while I was clinging to hope, Will was tearing his own relationship apart. Electra cried as he confessed, and he begged her for forgiveness. He told her he was sorry, that if he had known the truth, he never would have done what he did. But Electra couldn't unhear the words. She couldn't erase the image of another woman in his bed, wearing her mask, pretending to be her. She couldn't erase me. When I think about what Will must have been feeling in that moment with Electra, I almost pity him. Almost. He had that look. I've seen it before in men who've made mistakes too big to cover up. His shoulders slumped, his eyes heavy, his voice cracking every few words as though confessing might somehow undo the damage. But that's not how life works. Once you cross a line, you can't go back. You can beg, you can cry, you can throw yourself at someone's feet, but the truth is still the truth. And the truth was brutal. The night he thought Electra had come back to him, it was me. Electra sat across from him, her eyes glistening, her hands trembling as she tried to piece together everything he was telling her. She asked him again and again, almost as if she thought she could wear him down into changing his story. "Tell me it wasn't real," she whispered. "Tell me it was just a dream, or some trick of your mind because you were drunk." But Will couldn't. He shook his head slowly, each movement like a hammer against her heart. "It happened, Electra," he said. "I swear to you I thought it was you. I never meant." "Stop," she shouted, her voice echoing against the walls of the room. She buried her face in her hands, her whole body rocking back and forth as the weight of betrayal sank in. Meanwhile, back at the Spencer mansion, I felt oddly powerful. Katie's rage didn't scare me. It fueled me. Her words rolled off my back because deep down, I believed she was wrong. I believed Will wanted me, even if he didn't know it yet. It's crazy how blind we can be when we want something so badly. I clung to the memory of that night at the party, of the way Will's hands had touched me, the way his voice had softened when he thought he was with Electra. In my head, that meant something. It had to. But Katie saw right through me. She leaned forward, her eyes like daggers, and hissed, "You think you can steal my son's life, his happiness? You are delusional, Luna. He will never love you. Not the way he loves her." I should have felt ashamed. I should have broken. But instead, I doubled down. "Love doesn't have to start perfect," I told her. "Sometimes love grows. Sometimes people make mistakes before they find the truth." Katie's laughter was sharp and cold. "You're not his truth. You're his mistake." The next day, the fallout began. Electra didn't answer Will's calls. She didn't respond to his messages. When she finally did show up at Forrester Creations, her face was pale, her eyes red, and her voice trembling as she tried to keep it professional. But you can't hide heartbreak. It seeps into every word, every glance, every step you take. People whispered. I heard them. Zend even pulled me aside once and asked if I was proud of myself. Proud. The word stung, but not enough to change me. Because here's the thing. I told myself I was fighting for love. But deep down, if I'm being honest, I wasn't fighting for love. I was fighting to win. And Will. He was caught between two women, drowning in guilt, and too weak to swim toward the one who truly needed him. That night, I caught a glimpse of him sitting alone in his office. His head was in his hands, his tie undone, his usually neat hair sticking up in every direction. He looked broken. And for a moment, my heart softened. I wanted to go to him, to tell him everything would be okay, that we could fix it together. So I stepped inside. He looked up, his eyes bloodshot. "What are you doing here?" he asked, his voice hoarse. "I came to see you," I said quietly. "To make sure you're okay." "I'm not okay, Luna," he snapped. "I ruined everything. I hurt her. I don't even know how to make it right." I took a step closer. "You didn't ruin everything. You thought it was her. That has to mean something, doesn't it? You wanted her, but you came to me. Maybe that's fate." His face twisted with anger. "Don't do that. Don't twist this into something it's not. What happened that night was wrong. It was a mistake." The word hung in the air like smoke choking me. Mistake. He had said it before, but hearing it again, hearing it with that much conviction, it felt like he had just ripped my heart out and thrown it on the floor. "You don't mean that," I whispered. But he did. Electra, meanwhile, was spiraling. She confided in Brooke, who tried to console her, telling her that men make mistakes and sometimes forgiveness is possible. But Electra shook her head. "This isn't just a mistake," she cried. "It's betrayal." He let another woman crawl into his bed pretending to be me, and he didn't even notice. How am I supposed to trust him after that? Brooke sighed, knowing there were no easy answers. And that's the thing. There never are. Back at Il Giardino, Sheila was in her own world, thinking about me like I was some ghost she couldn't let go of. She muttered about keeping me alive in her heart, while Deacon rolled his eyes, telling her it was time to move on. But Sheila doesn't move on. Sheila clings. And the fact that she clung to me made everything more complicated. Because when Sheila Sharp believes in something, or in someone, it never ends well for anybody. By the end of the week, it felt like every person in our circle had picked a side. Katie and Bill were united against me, furious that I was still lurking around, still pushing my dream of becoming Mrs. Will Spencer. Electra was devastated, but too proud to give me the satisfaction of seeing her crumble completely. Will was a shadow of himself, unable to fix the mess he'd made, and unable to let go of either of us. And me. I was still standing, still insisting that somehow, someway, I would be the one he chose. But late at night, when I was alone with my thoughts, I felt the cracks in my armor. I heard Katie's words echoing in my head. "You're not his truth. You're his mistake."